All right, everybody, we're back, and welcome to episode 1 of 3Legs, a Paul McCartney. No, actually, no. Hey, everybody, welcome to 2 Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast. This is episode 229, and we are a Paul McCartney podcast. But today we're going to be talking a little something a little different. We're going to be talking about the book signing events that my previous and my current co-host was fortunate enough and lucky enough to be a part of. So this is going to be a really cool little chat here. So Paul's going to take a little bit of a back seat, unfortunately, but we'll get back. Don't worry, we'll get back to Paul.
We will,
soon. And but I'm very very happy to have this is my 2 Legs family right here. I'll start off with my OG, my original co-host David Gargalino. David, it's wild being back in Michigan and just being 15 minutes away from
to
where
see
you
you
live.
walk up my driveway on Saturday. I'm like, that's bizarre. And I just saw you 2 days prior. I haven't seen you back to back since my wedding. So
yeah, right. So
really
it was fun, and it's going to be great hanging out. Causing trouble or whatnot. Hopefully,
take it easy over there, Michigan boys. Take it easy over there. Damn.
But I'm also glad and excited and happy that I get to do this show with my current co-host Andy Nichols. And Andy, my friend, my backwards traveler. It's good to hang with you as well. So what's going on with you?
Not much. Just getting ready for the old Thanksgiving holiday. We're recording this before Thanksgiving, but it'll drop on Thanksgiving weekend. So, it's a good time. Good time to be around family and friends and all good things.
Yes, absolutely. All good
and a
things.
lot to be thankful for.
You took the words right out of my mouth. A lot to be thankful for. It's great to be around family again, friends and family, a lot of friends and family that I haven't seen in years. So this is exciting. Before we get to the 2 events, I do want to mention something that is Paul related. On Netflix, there's that new documentary called Circling the Square, which is all about the hypnosis team that that has created so many kick-ass album covers and 45s, singles, and it's a great story. Paul's a part of it. I think he's on it like 4 or 5 times. He talks about the Band on the Run shoot, the Venus and Mars shoot, the Women's Greatest shoots. He also
did Speed of Sound too. Did they cover Speed of Sound in there?
No, not Speed of
Sound.
They
did that though.
They did show the Wings Over America cover, and then the Getting Closer single, which has somebody walking a lobster on the sidewalk, which was pretty cool. So yeah, obviously you got the Pink Floyd guys on there as well, because they did so many great Pink Floyd covers also. So pretty good documentary. It's just under 2 hours, so I think everybody will enjoy it. And like I said, Paul's there 4 or 5 times, so check that out. Again, it's on Netflix. So David, I remember, I think it was while I was on the drive to Michigan, or right before I left, you had talked about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and going there and going to the to the book launch or the presentation that our friend Ken Womack and Gary Evans were a part of, and then then you got the tickets, and then then Andy got in there and was talking about him going to his event also, which was on a Tuesday night, I believe. Was it, Andy?
It was.
Okay, and then where was that event at?
So, originally, when Ken announced this launch of Press Stuff, it was out in L.A., and then the big one was the one in Cleveland, the one that David went to. Right. I, for a minute, thought about making the journey, getting on a plane and going to Cleveland to check this out, because I'm like, this will be pretty special. And then, luckily enough, a good old Nicole Michael over at the 910 PR sent me an email telling me about this New York City kind of launch event. Now, it was much different than what David went to. So it was held in Soho in Manhattan at the Morrison Hotel Art Gallery. Tiny loft place. Really, really tiny. And just signed up, went in. And it was the date of the publication. So it was the date the book first became available on sale.
Right.
So people
Okay.
were there, man. Like it was jammed in because they wanted to get the book. And
Hmm.
Ken and his wife Janine and Gary and Julie were all there. But it was tight quarters. Susan Ryan,
Right.
of course. Met up with her and Jim beforehand, and it was great to see them. To go, but it was tight, and there was some other notable people there. Obviously, I got to see
Ken Michaels. Right?
Ken Michaels there was there, and it was cool to see him again. And of course, Fred Seaman always pops his head into these events every now and then, and there he was holding court. I'm like, hello, Fred.
Right.
There's Fred. I didn't even say hi to him, but he was there.
Right.
Um, but he was there, and of course, I got to see, I got to meet, obviously Gary, and had a few minutes
Yes.
with him, and it was just a launch. Really, there was no formal presentation
Right.
of anything. There was just people mingling in the art gallery. Lots of really cool photographs. Of other famous, some that Mal took. There were a couple of pictures that Mal took that were on display. Like I know that there was a couple of photos from the Mad Day Out session that Mal took that were on display.
Okay.
And then pieces of artwork that cost thousands of dollars. If you wanted to buy it.
Mhm.
But it started at 6, and I think by 7:30, I had my fill. Got to obviously met Ken and got to chat with him briefly. But it was packed. And he just made a big announcement. Was like, hey, because there was music playing throughout the whole thing too.
Mhm.
Very, very, very kind of informal, social. People having drinks and stuff, and walking. And of course, Now and Then was like on rotation. Like I think every fifth song Now and Then came on, which was cool.
Right.
Yeah, and then of course I brought my book with me and had Gary sign it and Mal, and Julie as well too.
And Julie. Yeah.
And she had signed it, and it's funny. I'll have a picture of this too, but there's Ken for Andy, warm regards and friendship, Ken, and then Gary started to write it with a pen, but tore the page. But he tore the page and he put a hole in it. Right, so he said,
no.
for Andy, with love and live long and prosper, warm best wishes, Gary. So he puts a hole in it, and then there's Julie above that too. So then he says that, and he leans into me and he goes, "There's one of the holes from Albert Hall taken out. Now you've only got 3,999 to worry about," which I thought was so spot on. Like I was like, yes, like this is awesome. This is great. So it was just a nice event, and nothing too long, nothing formal presentation, but it was impromptu. It was the date of the publication. Obviously, Mark Lapidus and the Fest people were there helping distribute the book on Ken's behalf.
Well, I think they were also picking up signed books so they could sell on their website or pamphlet or whatever it is, brochure or whatever.
Yep. And then there was another gentleman I met, and I don't know, maybe David, when you tell us. I'm sure he was there with you. So there was a guy who started like a Mal project, and he walked up to me and introduced himself, and I forget his name, but he was basically working on a Mal book, and he came right up to me, struck up a conversation with him and told me that he had started the project on Mal, and then Ken picked up the project and then kind of kept him on as a researcher. Which was really nice to hear that, because he was like, well, it kind of got taken from, and he was just like, yeah, I started it. It was quick and it was loud and you couldn't hear that well. And God, it was hotter than all hell up there. 100 people jammed into a small loft in New York City. It was hot. So after about an hour, and I still was not 100%. I was battling the flu, coming back from the flu. So met everybody and it was pleasant, and got out of Dodge and said hello to everybody, and had a few nice minutes with a couple of key people that I wanted to say hi to. And that was it. But now I'm about 75 pages into the book. So that was the New York City event.
Nice.
Recapped quickly. Got a great photo op with Gary and Ken as well, which we'll cut all them in here too as well. So that was my event. David, tell us about Cleveland.
Oh, that was a long day in Cleveland. So it was, I think it was October 19th, I think, when I got the tickets. I heard about it probably from your website or whatever, and hey, Tom, I heard you're in town. Let's try. I just reserved 2 tickets because, I can. Honestly, they never scanned my ticket because I was already there. So, there's plenty of people. I think maybe 30 to 40 people were there.
That was it?
Yeah, it wasn't huge.
Oh, okay. I thought it would be like a couple hundred people.
No, maybe close to 50, maybe. If
Okay.
that.
And
So
this was at the Rock and Roll Hall of
yeah,
Fame.
it was
obviously.
it was at the level 4 Foster Theater.
Okay.
And like a little auditorium. And so my day started out, I left work, took a half
Well, I
day.
think you came over Wednesday. You came over that Wednesday night,
Yeah,
right?
I picked up your book.
Yeah, your
Yep.
book picked up my book and to have it signed. So thank you for that.
So I tucked it away in a bag, put in my backpack, got ready, left work maybe noon near Ann Arbor, drove to Cleveland, about 3 hours in a monsoon storm along the turnpike. That was just brutal. Got in around 3:05, parked across the street, and I was like, hey, I'll just check out the museum for 2 hours and just chill between the 2 hours between the show. And not 5 minutes later, Ethan walks in the front door. I'm like, all right, well, I'll just be nice and kind of wait, checks in, get a ticket, and we'll tour the museum together. So we toured maybe like the first 3 or 4 levels. And then kind of waited around. And then I saw Ken Womack walk around with his wife. Then I think I saw Kit come in. I didn't talk to her till later on. So it's like, oh, it kind of reminded me of like the symposium I went to a few years ago.
Sergeant Pepper, yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, like, wow, all these authors, and there were other people I had just recently discovered that week of, that did websites on the Beatles, and it was a really neat gathering. And I kind of just took it all in, and so we kind of got into the theater around like 6:45 and sat. I took the front row to the left side of the stage because I'm like that, and kind of sat away from mostly everyone. I kind of just wanted to focus in on this. I've been watching videos of Gary and Ken recently this past week about the book and your show too from a few months ago, and this is one of 3 big releases for me, Beatle related wise, this year. And I think it ties with Now and Then. It's kind of Mel November, like,
yep,
right.
So I'll get back to that later on because the
timing of everything is just too cool. I mean, it's just great. The single, the video, the book now, and I wonder. I have to wonder if Mr. Womack, was in the know about when that was coming out and when to tie in when the book was coming out.
Maybe. And
wouldn't surprise me.
I love Ken and all his books, and I would be like, hey, if volume 3 by, Mark didn't happen because of whatever, I feel like Ken would come in and save and finish it off. I'm not trying to be morbid, but he's up there with Mark. Maybe for me a little bit more because he's doing so much. I know Mark's project is decades long in the making, but yeah, it was a special day. It turned out to be more special at the end. So we got in, and there was like a screen on the stage, and I think Ken kind of made it this collage of stuff. He had like the
many
the
faces
alarm.
of Mel.
Yeah, the many faces of Mel, and then you have an alarm, and you had like all these like
these little all these little Easter eggs.
Yeah, and so it started basically. Ken got on stage, and because this book is an amalgam of about 3 or 4 different things. Like you had part of his memoirs, part biography, and then the photo archive, and then some of the diary samples. So it's like this book encompasses a lot, but mostly Ken talked about Mal through pictures along the arc of his life and career with the Beatles and thereafter. And so that was about 45 to 50 minutes. And then there was a Q&A with one of like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame historians with Gary and Ken. Julie was sitting in the audience, but she talked a little bit later at the signing. So special. I mean,
so Ken did a like a multimedia thing with his
and then he did like a little video too. I think at the end of maybe it was in the middle of his presentation. So he had like little clips and stuff.
Yeah, so I attended to see probably did the same thing that I saw back in June. He did the same. He did a presentation at the Grammy Museum in Newark. So he had the same slideshow. Did he have the clip of? Did he play the clip of Paul singing Brother Malcolm during Let It Be?
Yes, yeah,
that's the same. It's the same presentation that he did in June then in Newark. So, Ken whips all those things together nicely in his presentations to have all this, all those kind of cookie cutter and Easter eggs that he drops in the hints of Mal and the Allen and stuff like that. But really, really well done. I'm sure you enjoyed that presentation.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I hadn't bought the book yet, so I bought it at the signing, but I'm like, man, I'm just going to dig right into this thing. So like I read the first 3 chapters in the epilogue at the end because I didn't really know the true deep history of how all the archives were found,
What a crazy story that is about how an office aide found them in the bottom of the basement in New York City.
And then the Apple lawyers only had an office across the street from there. So, but
she went right to She went right to Dakota.
She wrote a note to Yoko. She wasn't sure about if Yoko was actually pass it on to Neil and all of them. But in the end, she did. But then that Lena lady kind of went the other way around. She did everything else she could to get a hold of whomever, lawyers or whatever. But then Yoko kind of passed it to Neil, and they got the lawyers and all that. Right, it's fascinating. Like they were like a couple of days away from this not existing. It would have just been
so to tell everybody who's not really aware, so what David's talking about are the archives of Mal that were found that were just after his passing in '76. They for 12 years make their way to the bottom of a basement building office in New York City, where they sit for a dozen years. And till 1988. What was her name again, David?
Lena Cooney?
Yeah. She was just a temp office aide, and she was like, wow, there's some important stuff here. And this was stuff that the family did not, they just thought it was gone. Mal had been gone for over 12 years at that point. So in 88, and in 88, the family gets all his artifacts back. And I could see it when I met Gary Evans, who basically, if it felt like meeting Mal. I mean, it felt like meeting Mal. Everything you've seen of Mal Evans on the documentaries, and my God, what a warm and loving, friendly person. I mean, I didn't even met the guy. Big bear hug, takes a photo with me. I mean, I'm like, wow. This is like Mal Jr., but he was obviously, raised by, Mal, and his dad had been gone longer than he knew him. But the love that him and his sister have for their father after everything and how long he's been gone is so wonderful to see. And Ken obviously Ken with his fantastic writing ability and his style can bring that story to life. And they are just so proud of their father. I can't begin to tell you how happy they are about this book coming out. And it's so evident when you meet them and talk to them.
Well, Ken brought up, like, Mal was the first archivist for the Beatles. He kept everything. He got, through his postmaster engineering job, he kept all those yearly diaries. And then just wrote. And he was so appreciative, and he wanted that kind of camaraderie he didn't get as a kid, maybe. And those were kind of his brothers too. He would do anything and everything for him, and was so appreciative of it.
The back quote tells it all. I could live on it. It's better than food and drink. I mean, that is a man who loved the 4 people he worked for. And a great anecdote here, and I'm sure you heard this, David, and Ken has told us this. Mal did not work for NEMS. Mal did not work for EMI. Mal did not work for Apple. Well, eventually he did, but Mal worked for the 4 Beatles. That's it. He was not tied down to Brian Epstein with NEMS or anything.
They kind of had a kind of head-butting relationship for the first couple of years, I think, him and Brian. So, according to Ken. But
David, you had after that presentation, then obviously there was the book signing as well,
right?
So I mean, that was you ended up meeting Nicole there.
So there's there's like 30,
there's
30 to 40 people in line. I'm like, I'm driving home to Detroit, and I'm going to get home at like 1 or 2 in the morning. I'm in no rush. I'll let everyone.
And it was a Friday too, so you didn't have work the next day, right?
No,
right.
I was crashing. So I'll let all, the original 60s fangirls do whatever. And it was enjoyable just listening to stories. And I'm like, I'm in no rush. I don't have to get the book right away. So I kind of tucked back, and then actually Kit and I kind of ran into each other at that point. I'd seen her, but I didn't really want to interrupt or whatever. The presentation was starting. So we kind of reconnected, and she kind of introduced me around. Like he was part of 2Legs, and I was his first interview. So like that was really a proud moment. Like she still took that to heart and remembered 6-7 years later, and I'm just a fan now. I'm not really part of that world, but kind of like Mel, he's kind of on the outside, but he kind of enjoys being on the inside. But so yeah, we were just talking, and then I noticed this lady. I'm like, I got your book, Tom, in one of my record bags, and I'm just like, oh yeah, here's a book, for Tom to sign. She's like, Tom who? I'm like, Tom Hunyadi. She's like, Tom? I'm like, yeah, I'm his cousin. Like, really? Like, I started 2Legs with him, like, and took her by surprise, and we kind of talked. And interesting thing, she's a PR lady, but like in the signing, as I'm waiting in line between getting my book signed and the person in front of me.
This is Nicole, right? You're talking about?
Nicole, yeah.
Yeah.
The book that was going to get signed, that person wasn't there. It turned out to be Barbara Feldon of Get Smart was going to have her book get signed by Ken, Gary, and Julie. I'm like, 99, Agent 99's getting her book signed. It was just so like, I missed it by that much. No, and I was like, this is weird, very serendipity-ish. I don't know. It was just like, okay. So that was neat. But God, Gary is. We bring up Gary's personality just like his dad.
Oh.
He signed like customized like funny shit in the book. Like I thought he'd just write Gary Evans. Like, thanks, appreciate it.
No,
I really like what he wrote in mine. It's just like, Tom
Morrow, but soon. Not Tom Morrow, but soon. Yeah.
And I'm like, man, we're at the end of the line, so he's probably like 50 people deep signing. His hand's probably cramping, but he's still coming up with stuff. He's very witty. And
well, think about it. This is the first time that the Evans family's had the chance to do this. So
that's true.
Of course they're going to eat. I'm sure they were going to eat up the moment, and as they rightly should.
Absolutely.
And support their dad, whose life story is being told for the first time.
Yeah, aside from, I can't believe it's taken this long for some insider like Mal to finally his story to come out, and the journey along the way.
Right. Think about it. Do we have these kind of level books on Epstein or Neil Aspinall? No, not yet.
Not yet.
Well, yeah, not yet. We have Brian's.
We have
his own pen.
Cellarful of Noise. Sure. Yeah.
Right.
But something of this scholarly writing and the research work that went into it, 3 years in the making. Ken and Gary met over Zoom at the beginning of the pandemic.
Shit, almost 50 years in the making. You think about it. You go back to,
right. He was going to write what Mal was writing the book during his lifetime. 200 was called 200 Miles to Go.
Yeah. So while I'm waiting in the line, because security is nice, but they're like, they're probably wanting to get home. It's probably like 9:30. So like I'm reaching in my bag. I was before I was talking to Nicole, and I was pulling out the 45 to Now and Then, because I'm just like, it'd be neat to have the kids sign the inner sleeve. Your dad inspired the namesake for Peter Jackson's learning tool.
Yeah.
And the security's like, it's only for the books only. I'm like, whatever, fine, I'll put it back.
Like they would care. Like, really.
I get it. It would extend it out if 50 more people pull out other shit. But
let me tell you something. If you brought it there, they'd sign it. They would have signed it.
Yeah.
So I tucked it away. I'm like, okay, I tried. At least I tried. So after, after they signed my book, Ken, Gary, Julie, I kind of was standing around talking to Kit as well, talking about maybe going to Chicago next year, Tom, or whatnot. And, okay, security's kind of like, okay, after you get your book signed, you got to leave. I'm like, fine. And like, hey, where's the restroom? It's, level 3. So I go to the restroom, get ready for my 3-hour trip home. As I come out, basically everyone is going down the escalator to the main floor. So like Womack's in front of me with his wife. Then I found out Gary's behind me on the escalator. So we're all heading to the same level, the same entrance door out. I was like, shit, I'm going to pull out the record. When am I going to find myself?
Exactly.
When am I going to find myself walking behind Gary Evans with my Now and Then 45.
And never again.
Never. I kind of felt like, I don't want to be one of those dudes that wait outside after a concert and you kind of sign my scratch plate or all this shit I'm going to sell on eBay. That's not who I am.
No.
So I was very, polite. I was like, hey, Gary, because we're walking out the door. I was like, would you be able to sign the 45 and Now and Then, because of your dad's namesake created this? He's like, sure. The moment we opened the door out, it's like 44 and windy. I'm like, I feel bad. I thought he'd just write Gary, there's an open spot on the insert.
All right, well, show us.
Yeah.
Stop talking about it and show it.
So Gary's like, what do you want me to sign? I'm like, just this open area is fine. Thinking he just write Gary Evans. And he's
David,
like,
great to meet you now. Great to meet you now.
Then.
Hope to see you then. Oh, Gary Evans. Nice.
And I was like, I think he just signed it. He didn't have to, customize it. And it's like, so him and his crowd, I think he went with Kid or Ken and all of them. They were going to get an Uber. And so they're like 50 feet away from him now. And he's signing. I got out my Sharpie and I'm just like, I'm sorry. I'm nervously taking this insert out of the record. And he signed it. I'm like, he didn't have to do anything special. Just sign your name. But he was so kind. It was so cold. I shook his hand. I'm like, thank you again. He's like, no problem.
Just like Mal chasing the Bobbies off the rooftop and get back.
Yeah. He's like, what's your name?
For the concert.
He goes, what's your name? I'm like, David. He's like, I signed a lot to him. I'm like, no worries, but he was so kind. And that's when I took the picture for you guys. And I felt like I was on cloud nine. It was like that whole evening, the whole trip was perfect for me.
And it was for you, was worth it to go the 3.5 to 3 hour trek to go and hang
on
and
6
stuff.
hours, if it wasn't, but it's just one of those trips you're like, I want to go. And once you're there, you're like, I'm glad I didn't not go,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I would really hope that I could have gone with you, but obviously, I was just returning. I had to start work as soon as possible.
No, I understand.
I know. Would you have gone with him? If you could have?
Absolutely. If it was that weekend that I got there, yeah.
You mean the first weekend you got to Michigan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have gone in a second. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Friday night gig, and I tell you, it was. I thought there'd be being at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You think there'd be a couple hundred people there?
Yeah, it was so under the radar, kind of like the symposium that I went to 6-7 years ago. It wasn't really promoted like crazy. It's interesting. This is like one of the, the insiders to one of the biggest bands in the world. And there's like 30 to 40 people at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think you only saw it on their website, or if Ken promoted it.
And I'd say that when I went to the Mal presentation in June in the Grammy Museum in Newark, similar, like 30 people. It was the same. And
in a way, I kind of liked it because it's like this small knit group.
It's more intimate.
The biggest band in the world in the last 60 years.
Yeah.
So you kind of feel you're in that world. You're visiting that world, and to hear Gary's stories about meeting hanging out with the Beatles. He's 62 and he hung out with them, not like, he just came, his dad brought him there to certain shoots, the Mad Day Out. He's in that Paul's Globe Dome or whatever. And I'm like, oh, that's Gary. Okay. Never knew who that kid was.
Right. And again, it's just, the Beatles, everything happened with Mal. His children were still so young. Gary was probably 15 or 14 years old when Mal passed away. Yeah. And now Gary's 62. Did you guys see that interview that went on that YouTube channel that I think Ken shared it, the video? So they did a little, some YouTuber did an interview with Ken and Gary. Did you guys watch that?
I saw that maybe the day before I went.
Yeah. You didn't watch that yet, Tom? Watch that.
They're sitting next to each other.
Yes. They're like, really good. And Matt and Kim and Gary says he's like, to be 62, I think is really young. And I think about my dad at 40, and John at 4 years later at 40, he goes, he goes to 62 is young. And it's with the passage of time, and to see, again, as I said, to see the family so proud of giving everything. And obviously Mal, Mal had had some dark sides to him, and it really hurt the family. And to see the family still move past all that and realize, hey, and and support it. And then we talked about their mom just passed away this past summer,
right? Yeah,
which is
Lily.
kind of a parallel to Giles Martin's mom.
Yes,
George Martin's wife passed.
Judy.
So, yeah.
Who, if according to what we know, without Judy, there is no Beatles.
Right? Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I love I love the intro. I love the dedication though. Right. It gets dedicated to Lily of Allerton. Yes. So,
so I hope this happens next year in 2025.
Well, I would imagine that I imagine that Ken and Gary, I think Julie also said, I think that they're going to be at the fest in February.
They will be there. Yes, they will.
Yeah, so I'm sure they're going to have a presentation there as well. Maybe like the one that you guys saw. And hopefully they're walking around. I can't wait to meet both of them.
Because Gary said he'd never been to a fest because he lived the fest. He
didn't need to worry about it. He lived it with his father.
Yeah,
and the fact that Mal did go to the fest in 70. He went to the fest in 75.
Yeah,
right.
That's the great. That's the to have their dad.
Full circle 50 years later.
Full circle. His kids there. That really legitimizes what the fest is for a lot of people 50 years later.
Like how the kids act is representative of how they grew up, and it's like they could be, there'd be people like that had rock royalty family just be brats, but these guys are so appreciative of just their father's story to finally come out, and it's finally published. Because we all knew like Mal through like stuff here and there, outtakes and the Get Back series and before that, but we never really knew him, what he really thought, and this finally comes to fruition of
or his story about how the man was a very, very successful person who had a family, had a house, had a stable job, like was already off and running, and was very accomplished, and but something
he was off swimming. That guy loved to swim, which made sense and help. I'm like,
it makes sense. I mean, but you know what, Mal loved the entertainment. He was a huge Elvis fan, and he knew that sound coming out of the steps or out of that basement was special. And again, timing is everything. And he joins the party a little bit late. Obviously. Ringo's already been in the band for a year, so I mean, and Neil just couldn't keep up with the workload anymore. He's like, I'm gonna get you got to get me somebody else here to help me do this stuff, and that's just the great part of the whole story, just learning all that, all the kind of the stories that you've never heard before, and they're all in this book. And I don't know how far you're into it yet, David and Tom. I'm about
3 chapters, and then I did the epilogue already. I had to read it. I had to read how this came about, and then. I'm reading all the footnotes, so I texted you earlier today. I'm like, wow, he did an interview with Pete Best on like July 16th, 2020.
Well, because it was supposed to come out, earlier this year, but it kept getting delayed. It kept getting delayed. Like David said, I mean, if he's still interviewing people, in July of 2023, then it makes sense.
Totally.
So like they fly that stuff in. Like, okay, here's another antidote that we'll add.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Ken has a wonderful team of students there helping him, go through all this stuff, and so it takes a village to do that, and to put that level of detail, you need a team of people, and he's got some good students there at Monmouth University helping him do that.
Well, the amount of work that he's been able to put out this last 10 years,
incredible.
It's mind blowing.
Yeah.
So you do, like you said, Andy, you it takes a village, absolutely, to consistently put out book after book after book.
High quality. I mean, solid state. The Lennon 1980. I mean, even all the way back to. I mean, he didn't write it. It's an edited volume. Is the Cambridge Companion to the Beatles, which is the first Beatle book he wrote, which was actually a required textbook for me in my class work in Liverpool. He was like, "Yeah, that's the first one I did." And
I tried to buy that about 6 years ago. I'm like, "Oh God, that's a lot of money."
Yeah,
what's it going for now?
I haven't looked, but it was like an engineering book I'd be buying. Like, damn, like it was maybe $200-300 at the time.
Wow. I think it was like $40 or $50 in 2010.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's from then. I mean, Solid State, the book on Abbey Road. I mean,
Yeah.
that book was incredible. The 2 volumes on George Martin, obviously. I mean, it goes on and on and on.
George and Eric book, yeah.
And yeah, so and to turn out this quality of work so quick, it's like, you know, we're very spoiled to have somebody giving us all this great you know, stuff.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, they've all been great, but man, I think this is the all things must pass thing for Ken. I think, you know, moment for him.
Agreed.
Yeah, and maybe I was unfair about Mark. You know, he's taking a while, but he's a one-man team, so it's like maybe outsource it to like the students of Ken.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, or us. Well, we'll do it.
Well, and we'll definitely have Ken Womack on again once we get a little bit deeper into the
Yes.
book. We'll you know, maybe we can get even Gary on. You know, and
would love to.
You know, talk more about the book. I mean, obviously we had him on a couple months ago. That was a great time talking you know, about Mel with Ken Womack. So definitely he will be back on. For sure.
Yeah, and I'm hoping hopefully between now and the new year that I finish the book, just like we did last year with the McCartney Legacy. I'm thinking.
Yeah,
Tom said, if you noticed though, if you got the book, it's
Read it.
500. Well, definitely read it.
Read it.
It's light. It's light as a feather.
you know,
Right.
but the paper's not that cheap though. But it's just like,
Right.
yeah, I'm like, I think I handed it to you, Tom, on Saturday. He's like, damn,
Yeah.
this is light. You know,
Now you look at that weighty. Now and then's blocking it, but the McCartney Legacy, that thing's like lifting up. You know,
Right.
no,
that's a lot heavier.
How about my A is for apples? These things you can
Oh,
kill
those-
someone with that. You know, like-
That series is tremendous. Those books, man, fantastic. But yeah, Living the Beatles Legend, the untold story of Mal Evans by Dr. Kenneth Womack.
Can I show you my? All right, so we know this. To me, this is up there with like number 1 or 2 of a Beatle release for me. And then
Yeah,
now and then it's like I can't say enough about this song. But there's a third one out there that you know me, guys. You know, I love all the bootleg stuff. But so this was a revolution. The Stoll School.
No.
You know, I wish this could get like an official release. You know,
looks pretty official there.
Did you get that at Amoeba?
no, I got it through CD Japan.
Oh.
It's an official website though. So this is not the 2-disc with the AI enhanced one.
It's not.
So what they did is this is the full set list, and then disc 2 is the live at the BBC, mirroring that same set list with
With
a song list
with those tracks.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's the Stowe set list with BBC tracks.
yeah. And then actually as a bonus, I get EMI House April 5th, 63 from Me to You and Please Please Me. I think they were doing some kind of an award or ceremony at the EMI House, and they played a couple songs. So that's on here. So this actually is somewhat gray market official. If you go to CD Japan, it costs $15 plus shipping. So it wasn't like $100 bootleg.
No.
But you know, now that we just heard that Peter Jackson bought the physical tapes to the Star Club.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah,
And I had no idea that Apple never owned it. They just owned the rights, but he got the physical.
He bought
copy
them
from a private collector. So
of course he did.
He said he's going to turn it into a project on his own and kind of sell it to the team. So we'll see.
Right.
Well, why not? Why not? Yeah, I got an hour into that interview, and I swear it takes the guy 45 minutes just to answer one question. I mean, that's why those interviews.
And the way he talks is so quick. You're like,
right.
You know,
you did start it though. I mean, it's like you got an hour into it. Okay.
Yeah, I got an hour.
Look how gray his beard got from it. You know,
right?
Oh man. Well, so if you don't know, our friends over at the Things We Said Today had Peter Jackson on again for a second time. So congratulations to
8 hour total between those 2 interviews.
2 shows with Peter Jackson. 5 months. What was it? Last year? No.
November 21.
November of 2021, and then they got him again this for now and then.
7 hours worth of
set with Peter Jackson. So congratulations to Alan and Ken. And Darren for that. That's an awesome score.
So to wrap this up, why don't you can take a couple minutes and if you guys want to just talk real quickly about some of your favorite tracks on the Red and the Blue, Andy. I mean, you've been listening to it to a lot, lately, haven't you?
Yeah, because I've got the colored vinyl that I got, and it's been on the rotation since the 10th or 11th when it came in. I love "I Am the Walrus" remix. I think it's great. It's different, and I enjoy
what
it.
a remix is for.
Right, "Fool on the Hill." The mystery tour stuff was good, but really the Red, as everybody else has been playing, the Red has been great. I want to hold your hand, but people don't really like that what they did with "She Loves You" apparently, which
She Loves You. Yeah, I mean, whatever it is, the those vocals are just sounds muddled.
Yeah,
I mean, it's definitely, thank God. I mean, because these are experiments for the most parts,
It's
right?
an experiment project.
So yeah, I mean, so we're thankful that we have the originals out there that we can still listen to,
Yeah.
thankfully. But what they ended up doing with "She Loves You," I mean, especially with the vocals, I was really disappointed with that. But I mean, again, we have the originals, so if there's
There you
anything
go.
that we don't like about this, but the Rubber Soul stuff, I mean,
Oh yeah,
I
Take my
cannot
money.
wait. Yeah, exactly.
here you go.
Soul.
Norwegian Wood,
Soul.
Drive My Car, Girl. Yeah, Girl
You know?
sounds tremendous. I mean, obviously the Revolver stuff we were already familiar with because it came out.
Right.
David, what formats did you get for that?
None.
Yet?
I didn't get it.
Nothing yet. Are you going
really?
to?
I don't think I am. I kind of like the 2019 single said. I didn't feel I needed it. I have
Okay.
the stuff, the past masters,
Right.
but that doesn't mean I didn't listen to it. So it's like, yeah, I did A, B, and C of "She Loves You" between the 2015 one remix remaster and then the 09 mono out was like, yeah, and then that was maybe a dud. But the interesting thing reading up about it, I'm still interested in the history of how this came to be, and what they did was they're Giles and Sam O'Cal are like reamping these songs, so they're putting the music through the amplifiers and then miking them in Abbey Road 2 and then remixing it from there, which was like interesting to have that live feel. So maybe some of that stuff is muddled because the clarity is not there that you would just do in the multi-track.
Did you guys see this meme going? Not a meme, but a joke. Did you see this one going around?
Bass and drum edition. Yeah, I mean, you could say that for all the remixes. There's a little bit more, but that's the contemporary mix of this era.
It is. That's the sound.
But I really enjoyed the. I mean, when Nowhere Man. Okay, right? You listen to that original. It's very echoey.
Yeah.
With this, I mean, all that echo is gone. I mean, it's recorded. It was just like it was recorded today.
Mm-hmm.
One of the tracks that I really enjoyed.
Yeah. The red vinyl has been enjoyable, and blue, but the red especially. But Please Please Me is also early. I love the separation, the clarity on Please Please Me is just great. Packaging of the vinyl, not too thrilled with it. It's very still kind of thrown together. 2 LPs. Again, I think David and I, we talked about it on text. Like, do like On Air Volume 2, BBC, or the anthology. Trifold. If you make it a little bit different, 50th anniversary, they could have. There's nothing on there now. A couple of other YouTuber channels that said that. I think Andrew Dixon said it, and a few other people. Like, let's put something on there to make it a little bit of a special edition, so we know it's totally.
On the Spotify, it says 2023 edition one. You just print that on the physical media,
right?
Or make it like All Things Must Pass box. That too. I mean,
right.
If you're gonna,
And
I mean, obviously, we want to keep the integrity of the original release.
Of course,
I get
that. But again, they could have. This was probably a late decision with the just throwing the third LP in there with the extra tracks, whereas on CD and digital, you're getting it chronological, and that was a little bit. I would have liked to have heard it on vinyl with the new tracks included in there, not the traditional way. But whatever. It's
supposedly that's what delayed this whole campaign. Was they were still working on it in the summer.
Oh, okay.
And they had to get it out to pressing, I think, by June or July.
Right.
So, they're probably thinking end of last year, earlier this year, like, oh, it got to fit where now and then would fit, as a non-single entity.
But Tom, are you just have the CDs right now, and you're going to stick to those?
Yeah, I'm sticking with the CDs for now.
Okay.
I mean, if I come across them, in a store or something like that, maybe I'll pick them up
down the road.
Yeah. Oh, David, I did check out that record store. That's
how you like it?
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
I-
are there
I-
as many record stores in Michigan as there
Hell
are in
no.
Phoenix?
We got more. We have a handful in Michigan that he has like around his block.
Because I'm telling you, when I went out there in 2021, my head was spinning. He's like, then there's this record store, then there's this one, then there's this one, then in like a 10-mile radius, there was like 15 record stores. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, you'll probably find maybe 10 at best in the Tri-County area. You know, they're good.
Wow.
Yeah.
So all right, so you got to find some cozy dealers.
Try Dearborn
record
music,
dealers
Tom.
there,
So.
Tom.
Yeah, I'll check that out too. But yeah, again, it's all gonna take time. But
so are
yeah,
you gonna sit your ass down in cold Michigan weather this Friday for Black Friday record store day?
No.
No,
there's
yeah.
nothing. I legitimately there is nothing I wanted.
I didn't even see the list.
Yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't
nothing I was excited about.
Yeah.
No. Now, more importantly, Saturday, when this is actually dropping, Michigan, Ohio State. You going to watch?
I'll be there. Not
You
at
go?
the game. My brother-in-law is the biggest U of M fan, has a 2,000 square foot tailgate tent at Pioneer High School across the street. It's going to be off the...
Oh, so you're just going to go to the tailgate and watch it. That's
Yeah, that's all you need because ESPN will be right across from us.
Oh,
Like,
dope.
Well, the only thing that sucks is that I got to wake up at like 5:30 in the morning and head down to Ann Arbor. But
Well, 12 o'clock start, too.
yeah, but the festivities, it's good to meet.
That's best.
I'm going to be sleeping
best.
all day Sunday, yeah.
Yeah.
And the Lions, my God.
And your Detroit Lions there. Look at Tom rocking his line. Listen, after the Giants are terrible and just shit the bed, I'm all in for Detroit.
Yeah,
Take down
they're
Philly. Let's go.
They're your
Let's,
foster team.
let's go Lions, baby. I'm all in.
Dude, like I'm about to turn 40 next year, and to see the Lions like as a playoff favorite home game, maybe win,
Yeah, I mean, and then obviously this has already happened, but they're playing Green Bay on Thanksgiving, and like they're the favorite. Like after getting throttled by Green Bay for 25 years, you should beat them.
Tom's in Michigan. The Lions are doing good. I mean, the purple moon, the purple cow just crossed the moon. So.
Too good. But yeah,
we got
Beatles,
a third, now and then comes out. I mean, this year has been bizarre. The world has been heavy the last few years, and this just is nice.
You think?
Yeah.
This is nice. We got the book.
I mean, it was a great light first half. We didn't have to, no releases from George, really, nothing from Ringo except for an EP.
Forward rewind or whatever.
Yeah, Paul gave us a book. And then now we got a few things. So I mean, I appreciate the fact that it was a lighter first half.
Yeah, because the 60th anniversary is coming. So
right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
get ready for 2024.
I guess what are your hopes for the 60th? Do you want the reissue of the Beatles Coming to America with more outtakes by the Maisley brothers?
Nah.
Okay.
I'll tell you what I would like.
Out?
The Capitol albums reissued on vinyl. Yes.
Huh? With the original mixes.
Correct.
Yeah.
With the original mixes. I don't care about
I know. Tom's like, the American stuff is inferior, but I had the stuff on CD because when I was a kid, like I saw the British albums, but all the used record stores had the
American ones.
And they were cheap. And they, as a kid at 11, 12, to buy a $3 Beatles 6, that's fine. That worked.
That'll work.
But it'll be interesting what they come out with. So.
Well, we'll see what we hear. Maybe by the fest. Well, the fest in February. Maybe we'll know some stuff by then. Who knows?
Of course, just keep going backwards. I'll take Rubber Soul. If they want to start pumping out 2 at a time, that's fine. Don't care. But I mean, if they want to do something for the 60th, do a TV show or a special or something. But I don't see why they have to.
They did that great tribute in 2014. When
right.
Who was it? It was Jeff Lynne and Dave Grohl sang "Hey Bulldog," right?
Right.
That was so cool.
Something like that.
And then who knows? I mean, I was celebrating 50 years. Now it's 60. I don't know.
Maybe it's time for McCartney to release some more archives after a 3.5 year dry spell.
Crazy.
Well, he is recording with Andrew Watts, so
he is. But everybody out there, pick this book up and grab it because it's
very good,
pretty special.
It is, and read it. Don't just get it.
Yes.
Don't leave it on the shelf. Don't let it collect dust.
Open Read.
It's actually a good.
Close.
It's actually a quick read because
the chapters are very quick.
It's very short, yeah.
You guys talked about the British authors versus the American authors, and I still put Ken up there. But
yes,
as an American, how he writes, it's very easy for me just to go along. I know what he's gonna say. Mark Lewis and stuff, it's harder for me because how it's written, and it's a quick read. It's not super. Yep. The font's not super small, and it's I know it's about 430 pages after all the references and all that stuff, but it's a really fast because it's a story that hasn't been told. So it's not like, oh, we know about this part. It's just a lot of new stuff.
Yeah. So
you don't get bored because you're like, well,
no, it's all it reads very not that Mark's is not, but that's in-depth stuff. This is too, but Ken writes it in a way that's accessible for any reading level.
Yeah.
So good job, Gary. Good job, Ken and Julie, and thank you, Evans family.
Yes, absolutely. So really cool that you guys got to experience that. Really happy for you too. So look forward to meeting them at the fest, and that's going to do it for this episode of Two Legs. Andy, anything? You've got a show tomorrow night, don't you? A concert.
I do. Mr. Bob Dylan. Yeah, Mr. Robert Zimmerman tomorrow night for the fourth time that I'm seeing him, and on his Rough and Rowdy Ways never-ending tour, ninth row tomorrow night. So I'm going to do a review of that concert with some friends that I'm going to the show with, and send them some other friends. So that'll be on my channel at some point as well, probably next week. After the long holiday weekend here winds down. So, I'm really excited to see Bob again. And I will not bring my phone in because, Bob, you can't bring your phone in at Bob's concert, so I'm leaving it in the car.
Oh.
You can't.
Boy.
They'll take it.
Yeah.
So how do you show your ticket? Do you have a printed ticket?
I'll print it. Yeah, my buddy he'll print them, and then we'll just go in that way. And then
they'll probably have the little pouches there or whatever that you put your phone.
Yeah, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Too many germs.
Anyways, yeah. David, it's great seeing you again. And,
good seeing you guys. Tom, I've seen you too many times, so I'm gonna go back into hibernation.
Hi, neighbor. Hi.
You're like, I'm coming over. I'm like, well, let me put some pants on, bro.
That's right. Yeah, because the next morning, Ethan, because you said Ethan and his mom Liz we're in Cleveland, so they ended up driving through Detroit, and and we went to breakfast Saturday morning, and then as soon as we were done, I'm like, okay,
I'm stopping by.
I'm coming by.
Man, I just woke up. It's 12:30.
I love it.
Oh, good times. Everybody, thank you again for checking out this episode. I know it wasn't Paul heavy, but hey, listen, sometimes we got to do something different from time to time.
Listen, if anybody is worth deviating from our normally scheduled programming, Mal Evans is worth it.
I mean, Paul's on the cover.
Yes.
Paul's on the cover.
What more do you want?
We're good.
Bada boom, bada bang.
Right.
That's right.
Boom, bada bing.
Where's my Soviet Ivy League suit? Boom.
This turned into the three, the three Italians.
Yes. Yeah. Let me show you how to cook a sauce, right? You might have to cook for 20, 30 people someday. Get all your pork and your sausage
and you shove it in there. Stir it.
Little red wine.
A little wine, a little sugar. Michael, why don't you tell that woman you love her?
If I don't see you again soon, I'm gonna die. Anyways, that's going to close it out for us.
Have a great day and a beautiful night.
Yeah, there you go. All right, cut it. Take us out here.
Listening to Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast, hosted by Tom Hunyadi and Andy Nichols, with musical contributions by Dylan